Hey, what's up guys? Today in this video I will be showcasing you my Dark Magician deck. Keep in mind this isn't a perfect deck quite yet. I'm not a huge YouTuber that has all the resources that I would want to make this an incredible deck. But it is pretty good and it's worked pretty well for me so far, so I'll just show it off to you guys. So we're going to start with triple Dark Magician, of course. This is definitely mandatory to play the deck. It's really the central engine for all your plays, all your combos. Pretty much all of the cards in your deck revolve around the Dark Magician. So running 3 is definitely mandatory. Next up, we're playing triple Magician's Rod. This is the engine of the deck in some senses. Its effect is that when it's normal summoned, you can search a spell or trap that specifically lists Dark Magician in its text, and that's just really useful to get to your circles, your navigations, just to have ways to make your Dark Magician combos, and maybe I'll show you some combos that you can do with the Dark Magician deck. Just really good card, essential to play 3 in any Dark Magician deck. And its secondary effect is not really something that you use too often, but it reads, you contribute 1 spellcaster monster and add, or during your opponent's turn, if you activate a spell or trap card or effect while this is in your graveyard, you can contribute 1 spellcaster type monster, add this card to your hand. So, yeah, it can be useful to recycle Rod, but I personally don't use it too much. Next, we're going with triple Apprentice Illusion Magician. This is a really great card. Multiple good effects. So its first effect is you can special summon this card from your hand by discarding 1 card. So just an easy special summon on the field right off the bat. And then if this card is normal special summoned, you can add 1 Dark Magician from your deck to your hand. So really good to just so that you see more of your Dark Magician. Nice way to cycle to it and search for it easily. And then it says during damage calculation, if your other Dark Spellcaster monster battles an opponent's monster, this is a quick effect, you can send this card from your hand or face-up field to the graveyard. That monster you control gains 2,000 attack and defense during that damage calculation only. So just a really useful card. Very, very powerful. You definitely want to run triple of these. See this card as much as possible. Next up, we're going with double Magician of Dark Illusion. I think you could probably run 3 copies of this. It's just a really great way to special summon a monster with the name of Dark Magician. Since its effect is this card's name becomes Dark Magician while it's on the field. Its effect allows you to special summon it pretty easily. So I'll just read its effects for you. During your opponent's turn, if you activate a spell or trap card or effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. So that allows you to trigger off the effect of your Dark Magical Circle. So that's, and I'll get to that eventually, but that's very useful. And it gains the privilege of being named Dark Magician, which is pretty essential for your deck. And then the second effect lists, if you activate a spell or trap card or effect while this card is face up on your field, you can target 1 Dark Magician in your graveyard, special summon it. So it just helps you recycle your Dark Magicians. Next up, I am running 1 copy of Cosmo Brain. So, this is just a pretty useful card for another special summon. It says, cannot be normal summoned or set. Must first be special summoned by sending 1 non-effect monster from your hand or face-up field to the graveyard. This card gains attack equal to the level of the monster sent to the graveyard. This way times 200. You contribute 1 effect monster, special summon 1 normal monster from your hand or deck. So, just a really useful card to kind of unlock your Dark Magicians. If you don't have Dark Magician in your hand, then this can be a bit of a brick, but I personally like running it. It's it's a pretty useful card, as I said before. It unlocks Dark Magicians from your deck. Actually, probably this is a good time to note that, unfortunately, I don't own Magician Souls. They're about 120 Canadian a card, and that's a bit too expensive for me right now, since it's a really good card, and that would be the engine of my deck. Really, it's much more useful than Rod, but unfortunately, I don't own it. If I could, I would, but it's just not something that's in my budget quite yet. But maybe in the future, we'll see. Okay, so continuing to the deck profile, I run Apprentice Piper. It's got a nice flip effect that allows you to special summon a monster from your hand. And if it's destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can special summon a monster from your hand. Just a really useful way if you got Dark Magician in your hand, but no way to special summon it. And you get Apprentice Piper, it allows you to special summon Dark Magician, and then it can be very useful in combination with Magician's Circle, or sorry, Dark Magical Circle. And then next, I run Gamishio, the Sea Turtle Kaiju. Just a very useful card for dealing with your opponent's boss monsters. You just tribute them away. Very, very powerful card. Very useful to have in your deck. Not just Dark Magician deck, just any deck. It's a very good card to have. The next for the hand, or sorry, I should say lastly for the monsters, I run Double Effect Veiler. Just a good way to interrupt your opponent's combos and effects. Okay, now onto the spells. I run triple Dark Magical Circle. You want to see this card as much as possible. It's really like it's a really powerful card. It's something that makes Dark Magicians better. Dark Magician isn't a very meta deck, but this really helps it compete better with other decks. It says when this card is activated, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, and you can reveal one Dark Magician or one spell or trap that specifically lists the card Dark Magician in its text among them and add it to your hand. Also place the remaining cards on top of your deck in any order. If Dark Magician is normal or special summoned on to your field, you can target one card your opponent controls, banish it. You can only use each effect once per turn. So just a really great card to banish your opponent's monsters. If you pair it up with something like Navigation, for example, it can be a really good interruption to your opponent's combos. Just banishing a crucial part. So really great card to have. You want to see it as much as possible. Next up, we got Double Illusion Magic. A lot of your combos are going to center around having Dark Magician in your hand. So Illusion Magic is just a really great way to get those Dark Magicians in your hand. It says tribute one spellcaster type monster. Add up to 2 copies of Dark Magician from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Yeah, it's very self-explanatory. It is a quick play spell, so if your opponent activates a card or effect that would destroy one of your spellcaster monsters, you can chain with Illusion Magic and at least get 2 copies of Dark Magician. We're running 1 copy of Soul Servant. Unfortunately, I would like to have 2 or 3 at least for this deck, but unfortunately I just don't have it on me. I definitely am looking to purchase more in the future, but it's just a very good card to search out your other cards to create your combos. It says place 1 card on top of your deck from your hand, deck, or graveyard that is Dark Magician or specifically lists Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl in its text. Except Soul Servant. During your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard. Target cards equal to the number of Palladium monsters, Dark Magician and or Dark Magician Girl with different names on the field and in the graveyards. So just a really great way of drawing cards and getting more cards in your hand that will help you with your combo pieces. Next, I run 1 copy of the Eye of Timaeus. This card's a really good card to draw, or even to have in your starting hand, but especially to draw. If you have Dark Magician on the field, it's super powerful. Basically, it's a substitute fusion material for a fusion monster. So say you want to fusion summon like Dark Paladin, for example. If you have to control Dark Magician. You can't have it in your hand. If you control Dark Magician, you basically you use Dark Magician for the fusion summon, but Eye of Timaeus substitutes the Buster Blader, and it allows you to just fusion summon without needing Buster Blader. So it's very useful. It allows you to unlock your extra deck pretty well. Just overall, a very good card to have. You should probably run 2 copies of this card just so you see it more. Unfortunately, it can't be searched out by Rod because it doesn't specifically list Dark Magician. It just says 1 Dark Magician monster. But still, a very good card, good for unlocking your extra deck. Next, I run the 1 copy of Dark Magic Veil. I've seen a lot of times using this deck, like I'll have Dark Magician in my hand. I'll be like, I have no way of getting him onto the field to trigger off Circle. So this is just a very useful monster. Pays 1,000 life points, special summons 1 Dark Spellcaster type monster from your hand or graveyard, so that can be pretty useful for your combos. So, good card to have. Then the 1 copy of Dark Magic Attack. This card is really in there so that, or the purpose of it is for it to stay in your deck, and then when you use Eternal Soul, you can search it out. Not always the best card to have in your starting hand, but it can become very useful at times. And then I play 1 copy of Regeki. Speaks for itself. Destroy all monsters your opponent controls. Very useful card to have. I got 1 copy of Legacy of the Duelist. This is very useful for just destroying your opponent's spell or trap cards. Oh, yeah. I'll let you guys see that fully. You can declare an attack on a monster, then negate it, and then target a spell or trap your opponent controls and destroy the spell and trap. And then this other main thing is that you can give up your normal draw so that you can add a monster from your graveyard to your hand, which is very useful for recycling Magician's Rod, for example. So just a great card to have. Might consider bumping that up to 2 as well. And then for spell and trap destruction, besides Dark Magic Attack, I got copy of Cosmic Cyclone and then Twin Twisters. Just destroying your opponent's spell and traps can be very useful. Especially since when I duel with my little brother sometimes, he likes playing Prohibition on my Dark Magician. And that stops a lot of your combos, but it's good. These are good cards to just get rid of that Prohibition. Now moving on to the traps, I'm going to play triple Magician's Navigation, or Magician Navigation. Just a great card to have. It's kind of like a 2-in-1 almost. 2 great effects in one. Special summon 1 Dark Magician from your hand, and special summon 1 level 7 or lower Dark Spellcaster type monster from your deck. If you control Dark Magician, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 face-up spell trap your opponent controls, has its effects negated till the end of this turn. This is really useful, the negation effect and the special summon effect. I'll show you some combos later on involving navigation. Next off, just the 1 copy of Eternal Soul. I don't like the effect, like the backfire to it. The fact that if it leaves the field, you have to destroy all monsters you control. I find that's far too risky. But it's just a really great card. You can't deny that. It just helps you recycle your Dark Magician so well. And then also searching out your Dark Magic Attack 1,000 lives is just an added bonus. So, good card to have, but I like to replace it with Navigation, just so that you aren't vulnerable to being destroyed by like a single Cosmic Cyclone or Twin Twister, for example. Oh yeah. Also, I'll just note that Magician Navigation is very useful for protecting Eternal Soul. So that's something that's nice about the negation. And I like to play one copy of Magician Circle. It just helps you to get to your apprentice a bit easier, and then therefore after you get your apprentice, you can get your Dark Magician. So it's just something I like to play. Not absolutely mandatory. I've played a long time without it, but just useful to have. And I play the one copy of Crackdown. It's a, it's like an effect veiler, but even better. I would run more, but unfortunately I don't have more Crackdowns. But it's a great card to have. It says activate by targeting one face-up monster your opponent controls. Take control of that monster. While you control that monster, it cannot attack or activate its effects. When that monster leaves the field, destroy this card. So if your opponent normal summons a monster, which has an effect when normal summoned, you can just activate Crackdown in response to that. Grab it onto your side of the field, and then it can't activate its effect, so its effect won't resolve. So just a really useful card to have, and then you can just try and link away that your opponent's monster. That's usually what I would try to do. Then one copy of Torrential Tribute. It's a nice interruption that I like to have. Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. Destroy all monsters on the field. Just something I like to run. Then I play one copy of Witch's Strike. I don't know why this card doesn't see more play. It's very powerful if an opponent tries to negate any of your effects. You basically just destroy them unless they can negate this card. If your opponent negates the normal special summon of a monster or the activation of a card or a card effect, destroy all cards your opponent controls and in their hands. So just really useful in a metagame that is very centered around negates. Then I run one copy of Drowning Mirror Force and one Wall of Disruption. Both nice cards because they don't involve destroying, so they can be damaging against cards that even list can't be destroyed by card effects. And they don't target either, so that's nice. Then finally I play one copy of Goes and Match. All your monsters, besides your hand traps, but all your monsters are going to be dark monsters. So Goes and Match can really screw and mess with some decks that rely on different attributes of monsters. So just a really good card to have. Now getting into the extra deck. I run one Ebon Illusion Magician. Very useful card to have. Basically, it allows you to special summon Dark Magician by detaching a material. It's a rank 7 XZ monster. And then when Dark Magician declares an attack, you can banish a card on your opponent's field. So that's very useful. I play one copy of Ebon High Magician. Again, another rank 7 spellcaster monster. Just another nice card to play. Not as good as Ebon Illusion, in my opinion, but it does have its moments where it is useful. Next, I've got another rank 7 XZ monster, the number 11 Big Eye. Just another very useful rank 7 XZ monster to take control of your opponent's monsters and do something with it. It's a pretty cool card. And for the last XZ monster is the Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon. Just another useful XZ monster you can summon. This isn't a Red Eyes deck, obviously, but it's still fairly useful to have in the deck. Its immunity to being destroyed by card effects is quite useful, and then it can also deal some nice damage. So just another option you can have. Honestly, the majority of this extra deck, guys, is pretty optional if you want to run a Dark Magician deck. Just kind of the cards that I have, the resources that I have that I put into it. But for a lot of the monsters, you might want to change out, and I'll let you know which ones. So these are two examples actually of these. I'm at a very large shortage of link monsters, so these are just two random link monsters I have. They're very bad. I'm not gonna try and deny that, especially for a Dark Magician deck. But they're just cards you can link up to. And I have a lot of space in my extra deck. I don't have very many extra deck monsters. So, yeah, I would definitely recommend replacing these guys with Nightmare monsters. Like Nightmare Phoenix, for example. They're much better cards to have than these, but unfortunately I don't have my... Yeah, and Unicorn, but unfortunately I don't have my hands on those quite yet. Yeah, and then Daybreaker. It's just a spellcaster link monster. It's an alright monster to have. Not great though, to be honest, but I mean it's just another link monster. So you can, for example, if you take control of your opponent's monsters with Crackdown, you can. That's another option. You can just link it away. Then I use Draco Masters of the Tenny. You obviously you need a link monster to link summon it, which is the reasons I have those other link -2 monsters. But I think this is a pretty good card for Dark Magicians. So it requires 2+ monsters, including a link monster. Cannot be destroyed by battle with an effect monster. If you control no other effect monsters, you can destroy effect monsters your opponent controls up to the number of non-effect monsters you control, and or in your graveyard. So yeah, you run more Dark Magician, so this guy can destroy up to 3 Dark Magicians at some, or sorry, up to 3 monsters if you control 3 Dark Magicians. So that's pretty nice. Now onto fusion monsters. So as shown before, I run the Dark Paladin. It's a pretty good card to just negate quick effects. You obviously fusion summon this with Timaeus. Yeah, just useful card to negate. Sorry, they say quick effects. Just spell cards. It is a quick effect, so that's pretty useful. Also, if they run a dragon deck, this card can gain a whole lot of attack, so that's nice. I run Amulet Dragon, just to banish spells in their graveyard. It's also useful if you have like a circle on the field. If this gets destroyed, you get Dark Magician, and then you can banish one of their cards when this card is destroyed. Then I run Dark Cavalry. It's a pretty useful monster. It gains quite a bit of attack if there's a lot of spell traps in the field and graveyard. Piercing damage is nice as well. Obviously, you use Timaeus to fuse this as well, as with all the other fusion monsters. And its negation ability is quite useful as well. It's not a once per turn either, so as long as you have cards in your hand to discard, you can continue destroying your opponent's cards that activate their effects. And then finally, I run Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. Just a crazy good card. He's really my go-to when I have the Eye of Timaeus. He's just an incredible card. I'll just read it out for you guys. Cannot be destroyed by card effects. Neither player can target this card with card effects. During your main phase, you can destroy one monster your opponent controls, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original attack. You can use this effect a number of times per turn, up to the number of normal monsters you use as fusion material for this card. Once per turn, when a card or effect is activated, quick effect, you can discard one card, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. And if you do, this card gains 1,000 attack. So, just a real powerhouse. This is definitely the go-to when using Timaeus. I only have 11 extra deck monsters, I believe. Let me count real quick. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 extra deck monsters. You guys can add in whatever you guys want. Yeah, my extra deck is kind of weak, especially when it comes to link monsters. But yeah, you can probably figure that out pretty intuitively. Which extra deck monsters to add in. So that's my deck profile there. I can show you guys some combos, and yeah, I'll get to that.